From the book of Lord Meher, titled Love is Weeping, 1927, Mehrabad, page 834. On Monday, August 8, 1927, the first hint of the transformation that was to occur in the school children manifested when one of the boys whom Beidul has brought from Persia, 16-year-old Esfandiar Vesali, requested Baba, please exempt me from my studies because I can't stop thinking of you. I can't put my mind in my lessons. Before my eyes is only Baba. In my dreams, I see only Baba. Except for you, I have no other interest in life. I want to go towards God, towards knowing God. The Mandali corroborated Esfandiar's statements, saying that the boy was often found crying without being able to give any reason for doing so. Baba replied kindly, all right, I will grant you that, but only if you listen to what I tell you and you obey me. Baba urged Esfandiar to try to concentrate on his studies and to begin observing silence. Then on January 25th, 1928, it is stated in Lord Meher on page 892 that Esfandiar and another Persian boy were also ordered to be near Baba in his cabin from the 26th. Both are select lovers, Baba remarked. Esfandiar is the first of the school to come out and show others the way. That credit goes to him. Now we are going to watch a clip of Esfandiar Vesali, now grown up, as he shares in his own words about his inner journey with beloved Baba. In this video, Esfandiar begins by describing how a 16-year-old at Baba's ashram, he gradually gained control over his thoughts and mind with Baba's love and guidance. Eventually, he reached a state where no thought could enter his mind. He compares this experience to a bulletproof car. Just as no bullet could penetrate the car, no thoughts like bullets could penetrate his mind. Let's take a listen.
16 ساله دیگه فکرش ناقصه، عقلی نداره بود و خلاصه مدتی همینطور بازم تو همون دستانداز فکر و خیال، اما خب خیلی تسلط پیدا کرده بودم. همین موقع که بابا فرمود فکر من او بود، یواش یواش من داشتم به فکرم تسلط میکردم تا موقعی رسید که من وقتی که میشستم مشغول عبادت میشدم، یعنی فکر بابا میشدم، هیچ فکری نمیتونست مغز من بیاد، در مغز من نمیتونست اصلا اثر بگذاره، یا مثل آدم که تو ماشین زره پوش نشسته هر چی گلوله بهش بریزن گلوله میریزه، همطور حس میکردم که فکر میخواد بیاد اما نمیتونست که به مغز من اثر بگذاره، بنشینه رو مغز من. و در همین حال که مشغول تفکر بودم، وقت و بی وقت، گاه و بیگاه بابا می اومد، همطور من موقع تفکر بابا می اومد بالای سرم. همین که بابا میخواست بیاد بالای سر من تو اتاق بودم، بیرون اتاق حس میکردم که بابا داره میاد. میدونم طولی نکشید که بابا بالای سر من، سر من تو سینه خودش گرفت. من موقع مشغول عبادت بودم، سر من را میگرفت رو سینه خودش نگر میداشت و بعدم میگفت که مشغول باش، با اشاره میگفت مشغول باش و باز از در میرفت بیرون. هم تا راست میومد بالای سر من. خیلی بچه ها ردیف خوابیده بودن اما خب من بیدار بودم. چطور بیدار بودم؟ موقعی که غرق تفکر بودم، یک نور خیلی لطیف ملایم در خودم احساس میکردم و غرق اون بودم و خواب دیگه به چشمم نمیومد، خواب نبودم. در حالتی بودم که بیداری لطیف، خیلی لطیف، ملایم بودم و مغز من به وجود اومده بود. یعنی در همون موقع به وجود می اومد که من میتونم به جرئت بگم که اشخاص معمولی اگر یک ذره اون ذوق و اون حالی که من داشتم بهشون دست بده فوری سکته میکردن. شوک براشون میومد که قدرت توانایی یعنی برداشت اون رو نداشتن. این میتونم بگم، به جرئت میتونم بگم. در همین حال بودم که بعضی روزها بابا من رو میخواست، میگفت که سیرت چی بوده، با اشاره میگفت. تا من یکی دوتا کلمه میگفتم میگفت بقیهش کافیه دیگه نمیگفتم. در همین حال بودم. بعضی اوقات بابا مثلا میومد اونجا طرف عصرها، همین موقع میومد اونجا جلو حال نوه دو، همینطور بیرون رو سنگ و شنها همینطور بابا میشست، ما هم اطرافش بچه ها بودیم. من که میرفتم طوری جلو بابا، همینطور بابا اینجور میشست، منم میشم زانون به زانون بابا بودم همینطور که اصلا میخواستم تو بابا محو بشم. همینطوری با همین حال اینجور بودم. وقتی در حضور بابا میشستم دیگه سر تا پایم ذوق و محبت و بابا دوستی بود و وجود خودم را هیچ حس نمی کردم که من کی هستم، چه کار مشغول هستم. فقط اون دوستی بابا در من بود و به اندازه ذوق لطیف، ذوق روحانی در مغز و قلب من بود که به هیچ وجه نمیشه با زبون تشریح کرد.
You can find the entire video about Esfandiar's inner experience with Baba on MeherSepas YouTube channel. The movie is called Eternal Love. J. Meher Baba.
This is Saturday, December 10th of 1927 that Baba talks about. Now basically continues from the past that, as we remember, Baba talked about in the previous lessons how Darya or the ocean came into motion, and that motion produced basically the Pukal, which was the void or the empty space, and also through that empty space and all that produce the foam and drops and all that. And Baba explained that what these drops are, starting from electron all the way to human being. These are all drops, or Baba called them jiv, means a drop with basically limited consciousness. And then again, Baba explains through different media to teaching the boys of how these came about by making holes into a cardboard and having the boys look through the holes, the small holes all the way to the bigger holes, to see what they see. And in the small holes they could see less, until on the bigger holes they could see basically more items behind the cardboard. And then Baba removed the cardboard and said, now you can see pretty much everything, which was basically, he said, now you're in human form. In the beginning, that there was no consciousness or limited consciousness, it was the electron in the small hole. So anyway, Baba kind of reminds the boys of the past and then starts this way. Yesterday, we saw that knowledge contains the knowing and not knowing, or ignorance. The proof of this was given as proof B on this English book of page 140-41. Page 140 to page 141. Now let us take one of the individual drops of Darya or the ocean to elucidate the theory of evolution. We know that every drop is part and parcel of Darya. So when we talk of the drop, it should be understood that we are talking of Darya also, since so Darya and the ocean, Darya is a Persian word for the big lake or ocean. Since the one automatically follows from the other, the Darya and the drop, one follows the other. What is thereafter proved about the drop, then is proved for the Darya as well. To prepare the ground for a cleaner understanding or clearer understanding of further explanations that we will come to soon, let us review some of the main equivalent terms and their opposite as below. So Baba here draws a table which is called table 2, and the opposite God and illusion terms. Baba puts that in opposite. On the top is 5 basically 5 rows. On the bottom continues. On the top it says principle of God terms, which is 1 knowledge equal to 2 Paramatma, and then equal to 3 infinite, and equal to 4, which is Nirakar or the formless, and equal to 5, which is Darya or the ocean. Now the opposite terms are at the bottom. This is corresponding illusion terms. So knowledge, illusion term of that is ignorance, which is by number, Baba called it number 6. Number 7, the opposite of Paramatma, Baba says is universe. The opposite of 3, the infinite, is the most finite. And the opposite of Nirakar, the formless, Baba says is Sakar, which is the form full, basically full of form, full of different forms. And then the 5th, Darya or the ocean, the opposite of that, Baba says form or hollow space. And then Baba refers to figure number 12 again, the drops evolution. And this figure at the bottom shows God unconscious, ignorance is equal to universe. So basically God the unconscious is equal to ignorance is equal to universe, because God who is unconscious of everything. Although he's God in infinite, but he's unconscious of everything. And at the one point of God, the creation starts. Or that one point is a creation point. And the most finite form, which is the electron, starts from there. And then, the combination of electrons become atom, and then becomes, Baba says, stone, then metal, vegetable, animal, and human being. And then on the top of that, Baba shows the knowledge also. The knowledge for the most finite is very limited. And then in the atom, the knowledge, progresses a little more until in human form, that Baba says now the knowledge is infinite knowledge. There is a book called Infinite Intelligence, and that Baba talks about this infinite knowledge of humanity. But unfortunately, because they are looking outside, the look is out, cannot see the infinite within. So that's why it's misdirected, basically. And if it gets directed to the right place, then the divinity of God and the infinity of God will appear. On the top of that, Baba again draws another winding of from electron calls it Atma. Now, the Atma, which is always the same, no matter if it's in electron or if it's in human being, the Atma is always the same. And the Atma's now knowledge starts gaining until it becomes basically human being, which Baba gives it a Jiv. Baba says human being is Jiv, but perfect master is Shiv, basically. On the top, we can see that. And then Baba gives them B, C, D, B for the forms, C for the knowledge, and D for the Atma, which is always the same. And then from there, the mind has to reverse. If you remember, we have to know God because of all the sanskaras. The mind has to reverse. So basically, chews up or consumes all the past sanskaras, and when the sanskaras vanish, then the reality appears. And that Baba shows it in, the planes of consciousness, the real path, the Olat Baba calls it, or the Marg. Marg means the path, and that Baba calls it also or reverse path. And then the Baba says the reverse direction for reversing sanskaras. And then comes back to the on point, the seventh plane, and Baba says, now, on the seventh plane, God is conscious. There is also Maizub as God conscious. But the Maizubs have knowledge only. And the Shiv, Baba, which is the Sadguru, knows knowledge and ignorance both at the same time. It means that knows of the creation, which is basically ignorance altogether, and also the knowledge of God. So the Shiv is the most important thing. From there, now Baba starts explaining this figure 12 also as we go through the literature. So Baba explains this way. So now to begin with reference to table 2 out of Paramatma, number 2, or Darya, number 5, at the moment of the first movement, one drop, which is Atma, emerges. So assuming the ocean is calm, quiet, no movement, suddenly it starts moving. And that, as you remember, that was the original urge that created this movement. And when it starts moving, the drops start appearing. So the one drop, and then more drops emerge, which is Atma. All of these drops are Atma. We have already established that in Paramatma, number 2, on table, again, we are referring to table 2, which is identical with knowledge, number 1. Both knowing and ignorance are contained, as shown under the column, second proof of table 1, in yesterday's talk, page 141. This is to say, so Baba is referring to table 1 also here, which in table 1, if you remember, Baba showed it in 4 columns. One was real, subtle, gross, and then the second column was third proof, which is under the aspect of God and the cosmos, and Baba said God, energy, and Akash, which God is equal, on the first row, God is equal to knowledge, equal to Darya, and energy in the second, which is contributed to the subtle world, is equal to knowing and movement, and then the gross, Akash, is equal to ignorance and emptiness. And the second proof was under the aspect of knowledge, which was knowledge, knowing, and ignorance, and they were all, contained in God. And then the first proof of the ocean analogy, which Baba explained earlier, was Darya equal to movement, and emptiness was there too when the movement started. So Baba refers to that table 1. So second proof of table 1 in yesterday's talk 141, That is to say, within Atma, which is part and parcel of Paramatma, both knowing and the most finite form, C and B in figure 12 in here. Now, if you remember in figure 12, we explained Jiv, which is contained of C, B, and D. B, C, D, basically. B is the form, and C is the knowledge, and D is the Atma. So Baba is referring to that. In the beginning, Vidya moved, this comprising the very first movement and space for hollowness, began to manifest since they were from the first already latent within Darya. So the space that Baba talks about and the movement and all that was within the Darya, and they started manifesting. When in the very beginning Atma awakens, then what is created? Knowing and finite form. For Atma is ultimately the same as Paramatma, which is infinite, and thus Atma acquires finite form. Why? Because just as a space or form in number 10 in table is the corresponding opposite term to Darya, number 5, the most finite, which is 8, pairs off as the opposite term to the infinite, which is 3 in table 2. Again, Baba is talking about table 2. So when Atma begins to move, then a space, number 10, as said, takes the most finite form. Now here we come to a handwriting of Baba, which is related to the subject that Baba is talking about. But Baba wrote that in pen, and the Mandali placed it in this manuscript, and the author basically included that in here. And what the handwriting says is that, what Baba says is that in Atma, there is knowledge and infinite form, space, and when it awakens, these two things become manifested. When manifested, the space becomes most finite. Why? The space is opposite to Darya. So finite is equal to infinite opposite. So finite is equal to infinite, or the opposite of infinite. Atma is infinite, so naturally the first form is most finite. Because Atma in the ocean form is infinite, the first form that gets has to be opposite to that ocean, which is limitless, becomes most finite, which is basically what it says. It's the electron. And, the electron might even break down to smaller items like protons and neutrons and whatnot. But Baba, didn't go into the detail of all this because it's not really important. But anyway, I'm going to read about this manuscript that the editor put in here. It says, in the source manuscript, between explanations of 10, 12, 27, page 1, and explanations of original 10, 12, 27, page 2, has been interleaved a small tab of paper with text in Meher Baba's own handwriting, as has been reproduced on the facing page. How this piece of paper came to be inserted into this manuscript, we don't know. This paragraph of Baba's does exhibit a clear relationship with the text of the lecture, particularly the second paragraph following table 2. And after that, some of the ideal content of the paragraph before it, probably the Mandali member who kept and preserved this page in Baba's handwriting understood the connection with this lecture and basically housed it in this manuscript for this reason. So that was the, Baba's handwriting. Then Baba goes on again, explaining more on this subject. So to recapitulate, what is manifested in the beginning, infinite Atma contains knowing and most finite form, 8 and 10 in table 2, within itself. And in the beginning, these two, knowing and finite form, which is a space, manifested. Now it was proven yesterday that knowledge knows ignorance. So knowledge knows ignorance in the past, because when the perfect master is there, the knowledge is there, the ignorance also is there. He knows of both. This implies that Atma, which in fact is Paramatma, which in turn equates with knowledge, knows ignorance, and the ignorance is equivalent to the universe, as suggested in figure 12. In short, Atma is the beginning. Atma in the beginning knows the universe or ignorance through the most finite form, which is the electron, the form so finite as to be imperceptible, basically, which is hard to see unless with a microscope. So let us proceed. Since this form through which Atma sees the universe is indeed most finite, in effect, Atma sees and experiences the most finite form of the universe. And then Baba here explains. At this juncture, Sheri gave the beautiful simile of a person viewing some object such as a lamp through a basically minuscule hole in a piece of a cardboard. As we explained earlier, Baba explained how the light can be seen through the most finite hole or the small hole onto the bigger hole, or basically the cardboard removed. When the cardboard was removed, the lamp completely could be seen, which is the God, the divinity of God can completely be seen when the cardboard is removed. So I'm not going to read through that. To come to the point, the Atma now experiences or sees owing to the first movement, even though it does so only through a minute hole, as in the cardboard. It did not see or experience previously when it lay equivalent that seeing or experiencing commenced with the first movement. Now, as Atma experiences the most finite form, the sanskaras created are corresponding most finite. And the arising of sanskaras commences immediately upon the Atma assumption of form. So as soon as the Atma assumes a form, the sanskaras start. And Baba explains that, when the sanskara in that form is finished, that form is dropped and a new form based on the previous sanskaras is molded, and then it continues, basically, from electron, as Baba explained, to molecules into stone form, metal form, vegetable, animal, human form, and all that. And Baba explains that eventually when the soul arrives into human form, which is all depicted in figure 12, then that's the final form, and there is no form above human form. Thus, we find that the degree of knowing, I'm going to skip through some of these reading because, it's, first of all, it's already in the book. And, but I'd rather, kind of highlight the points as we did in the past, and explain some of the high points of those. So with that said, we find the degree of knowing, which is to say the experience, increases step by step in accordance with the advance and progression of the form. This knowing or experience we call Chaitanya. And Chaitanya becomes Jiv in human form. In human form, this Jiv knows and experiences the universe fully and completely. But the universe only, fully and completely. Now it must always be borne in mind that the Atma itself, throughout these different forms and experiences, remain the same, whether the form in which it finds itself is atom, stone, metal, vegetable, animal, or human. So the Atma is always the same. And the Atma knows the universe fully in the human form, as we have already noted. So Baba, repeats some of this to the boys. And then at the end of the chapter, Baba says, what all this means is that knowing or experience in the human form has achieved its full and complete development. For in the human form, the infinite Atma gained infinite knowledge of ignorance. So the infinite knowledge that human has is of ignorance. Only a limited ones have the knowledge of divinity, which they are perfect masters. So the ignorance, which is basically the universe, so we can offer the following definitions. Now Baba defines it in a different way. It says the Atma with infinite knowledge of ignorance is Jiv. The Atma with infinite knowledge of knowledge is Shiv. Remember again that Atma throughout remains as it always was, as it always was. You chaps who have infinite knowledge of the universe, which is to say of ignorance, are in the state of Jiv. So Baba is telling the boys, that you are all Jivs. While this chap, Baba refers to himself, who has infinite knowledge of knowledge, is Shiv. Sunday of December 11th, 1927. Baba continues again from preceding sessions. Sometimes Baba, gives a brief explanation of what was said in the past and goes on. So Baba gives a brief, discourse on the previous sessions, and then Sherry, first of all, recapitulated the portion of the explanation proven yesterday as on there. So Baba in the beginning says, Sherry said, infinite Atma assumes the most finite form of the electron. Through that form, it experiences the most finite portion of the universe, which is the ignorance. So Baba said, this is not proven. To make this ideal more correct, Sherry, which is referring to Baba, reviewed the stimuli given the day before of appearing at a lamp through a piece of cardboard with holes of different sizes, starting with the most minute and increasing in the form there, in the size from there on. This process culminates in an open viewing of the lamp with the cardboard previously held before the eye, now removed altogether. And Baba said, now when the cardboard is completely removed, Baba explained the following. While experiencing the universe in the most finite form, Atma acquires the most finite sanskaras of this experience. Subsequently, the Atma drops the form, but the sanskaras remain, and these sanskaras give to the Atma another form. Mind you, Atma itself remains the same. Again, Baba is emphasizing that Atma remains the same. It means that God is in every item, is in every particle is in everything, basically. So you can't find something that God is not there. That's what Baba is trying to accomplish to the boys, that everything is God. So anyway, subsequently the Atma drops the form, but the sanskaras remain, and these sanskaras give to the Atma another form. Mind you, Atma remains always the same, with no change. And accordingly, the knowing, which is to say, the experience increases just as when looking at the lamp through the minute hole, the vision, or what the eye sees, is accordingly minute. While through a bigger hole, a bigger field of vision and expanded sight presents itself, and so on it goes. So again, Baba explains on that cardboard. So with the progressing, and what we are reviewing here is evolutionary theory, at length, the Atma in human form gains full knowledge of the universe or the ignorance. That is, the Atma in human form completely knows ignorance. To repeat, knowledge in the human form knows knowing and ignorance fully. So the knowledge in the human form knows knowing and ignorance fully. But this knowing is a small knowing, means that is not the real knowing. In this state, Atma can be called Jiv. When Atma knows knowledge, which is with capital K, means the real knowledge, it becomes Shiv. And having reviewed the substance of the previous day's discourse, again, Sheri means Baba continues this way. But for Atma to know knowledge, the attainment of the human form is a precondition. So basically what Baba is saying, that someone in a monkey form cannot realize God. The human condition is the prerequisite for the real knowledge or divinity of God, knowing the divinity of God. So one has to gain that form before it can progress. Why? Then Baba says, because Atma is infinite. To know the infinite, knowing too must be infinite. And knowing is infinite only in human form, as proven earlier. Therefore, Atma must have achieved the human form if it is to know knowledge, with capital K, which is the real knowledge. All of this is illustrated in figure 12 again. We can refer to that. And then Atma in human form has infinite knowledge of ignorance. Now to know this infinite knowledge, infinite knowing must remain, but ignorance must vanish. So the infinite knowing must remain in human form, but the ignorance must vanish. But the sanskara that Atma acquired in its previous forms forced it, the poor thing, means the poor Atma, to know ignorance, only ignorance. So for ignorance to vanish, the sanskaras must vanish too. But sanskaras cannot be made to vanish easily, since they are created through the very acts of seeing, hearing, and so forth, as we have explained. So even by hearing, seeing, without even putting it in action, sanskaras are continuously created. And Baba says it's impossible for a human being by himself to get rid of these sanskaras. But Baba explains again further of how this can be achieved, how the elimination of sanskaras can be achieved. To illustrate the problem, Sheri gave the simile of a man who, in a dream, imagines that he is enjoying a pleasant drive in a motor car, when in reality nothing of the kind is taking place. So in the dream, he thinks that he's driving and he's enjoying, but nothing is happening like that. Then how to free him from this pleasant dream of delusion? Like us, humanity. We're in this world, we think this world is real, what our gross eye sees, we think this is real. Although it's like the man who is sitting in a car and driving, but in the dream. So this world is also a dream. Although we think it's reality, but it's a dream. Then Baba says how to make this person to wake up and see the reality. Then how to free him from the pleasant dream of delusion that this person has. This can be accomplished only through the sudden appearance of a tiger who terrifies the dreaming man and jolts him back to wakefulness. So the simile of that into this world, the volcanic eruption, the chaos of, the natural disasters like fire, wildfire, all that, earthquake and all that, we think that these are bad, or the wars even, we think these are bad. But in reality of God, these are like the tigers that Baba explained to wake up the humanity. Baba says, I have come not to teach, but to awaken. So these are the ways that Baba, takes into his hand to wake us up. One way or the other, with hook or crook, he's going to wake us up. So Baba continues this way. So then, what is the remedy to the problem of ignorance and samskaras, as we have been describing it? The samskaras must be reversed. They must be reversed, which means that the man, the Atma in human form, having descended into ignorance, must now travel in the reverse, or Baba called it olat. I think it's a maybe Sanskrit word. Olat means reverse. Now must travel in reverse direction, from ignorance to God, who is the knowledge, with capital K. And for the accomplishment of the purpose, he must get hold of a Sadguru, who is a perfect master. And what does a Sadguru do? He enables the creation of those reverse sanskaras necessary for the progress from D to E, again as shown in figure 12. The Sadguru does this by pulling one on the reverse path, which produces reverse sanskaras, and these reverse sanskaras counterbalance the gross sanskaras by and finally leading one to God. Good dreams make you sleep comfortably. To awaken you, a tiger must come. And when this work is accomplished, the tiger too disappears, and you become fully awake. Such then is the process. This is reverse sanskara. Reverse sanskaras are created, and by this means the previous sanskaras are much lessened gradually as the Atma proceeds, as illustrated in the figure. Again, the figure 12 Baba talks about. Creating further reverse sanskaras as it goes. So in short, for the creation of the reverse sanskaras that one needs for progress along the real path, only one remedy proceeds itself, and that is surrender to the Sadguru. Although Baba explains in later sessions that, there are souls that with their own effort, without even a, perfect master, they accomplish going through the planes of consciousness, But after they drop their body, they lose all that consciousness and they start up again until I think they're on the third or fourth plane. Then they can keep that consciousness. But anyway, we're not going to go to that because in later chapters, Baba explains in detail how this happens. But his most recommendation is to, catch hold of a perfect master's Dhamma, which for us Baba lovers is Avatar Meher Baba. I mean, who else could it be? But these Sadgurus are such misers, such marvadis, means, they're so stingy that they do not give anything. They do not dispense any of their goods without receiving full payment first. So even when you have a guru or a perfect master, you're linked to him, they don't give you anything for free. I mean, sometimes, I heard some of the Baba lovers say, that, oh, Baba is taking us on veiled through the path, veiled through the path. I mean, Baba can do anything. I mean, I'm not saying that he doesn't or he does, but from what Baba says in this book is that he's not giving anything for free. And one has to really work at it. And Baba, looking at the boys of the Prem Ashram, Baba told the boys, create love, create love. And he said, when you create love, that is the time that he can help. That is the time that he can, put them in the reverse sanskaras. So at least the least we can do is to create love, to, try to contemplate on his image, to try to, read his words, act on his words, and, obey his orders, do what he wants us to do in the world. When we do that, basically, we're under his direction. And he is the one who guides us inwardly and outwardly too, but inwardly mostly. So, but they don't give anything for free. That's what Baba says. In this example, payment means love. The goods are given basically by, and the goods given by the Sadguru are God and the path of truth. So, going back to the previous chapter, Baba says, but these Sadgurus are such misers, such marvadises, that they do not give anything. They do not dispose any of their goods, which is God, basically giving God, without receiving full payment first. So you have to have full love for them to the extent possible. I remember Esfandiar would emphasize that love Baba with all your heart, with all your power, with whatever you have, with all your energy, and then you can, maybe get his attention. So that's Baba, that's what Baba wants us from us. Again, there was a slip of paper in Baba's handwriting, was discovered that the editor put it in here. I'm going to read, what editor says, and also what Baba said on this handwriting. So as we saw earlier in the lecture of the 10th December, there again, a slip of paper, which is exploration of 11, 12, 27, page 1, has been interleaved between two other manuscript pages, which is here 11, 12, 27, page 1, and 12, 12, 27. So this page was placed in that manuscript, the original manuscript. And because it is in Baba's handwriting, they put it here, and because it's also related to the subject that Baba talks about. It contains 8 lines in Meher Baba's handwriting, written in pencil against the grain of the paper's own printed lines, which run vertically, top to bottom. Since the content of Baba's text is plainly plainly germane to this 11th December lecture, its essential substance has been incorporated into the text above, as explained in endnote 7 on page 572. There are some endnotes here. We won't go to that. Probably it was by reason of this very relevance to this lecture that the Mandali caretaker of this slip of paper inserted it into the manuscript at this juncture. And what Baba says here is that the Sadguru does this by putting one on the reverse path, which produces reverse sanskaras, and these reverse sanskaras counterbalance the gross sanskaras by, and finally leading one to God. Good dreams make you sleep comfortably. To make you awake, a tiger must come. When once awake, the tiger also disappears and you become awake. So that was the end of December 11th. And December 12th, again, Baba goes back, it's not very long, a few pages, goes back, basically recapitulate all the yesterday's explanation. And so basically this is more explanation to the previous talk. In the beginning, Atma was unconscious. It knew neither knowledge nor ignorance. So the importance of this Baba is emphasizing for now 4 sessions. Baba is emphasizing on this Atma, the forms that Atma takes, and the final form, and basically, the sanskaras, the reverse path, and all that. So Baba is emphasizing on these and tries for the boys to understand how the whole creation came about, first of all, how we came about, how Atma in us, in human being is, and why should we take that reverse path that Baba talks about, and how we can take that reverse path, and basically realize the true knowledge. So that's why Baba is emphasizing to the boys, and it's good for us to emphasize on our side too. So in the beginning, Atma was unconscious. It knew neither knowledge nor ignorance. So that is Atma in God state, but God the unconscious, God the beyond, basically, that Baba says is unconscious of the illusory world or worlds, and also of himself. In the beginning, Atma was unconscious. It knew neither knowledge, with big capital A, nor ignorance. Didn't know any of this. It means a sound sleep. When this Atma inhabited the very first form, which was the electron, it knew not itself, which means, the self, the real self, which is to say, didn't know the real self. It knew not knowledge, which is with big capital, means didn't know that knowledge of infinite knowledge neither, but rather knew ignorance, though most finitely. So only as soon as it started experienced ignorance. Now you can see how minute of an experience is when Atma is in electron form. Even in a stone, it's not much. I mean, you see a stone, you think it's dead. It's alive, it's got a soul in it. There is nothing that the soul is not in there, or the Atma is not in there. But the experience is very, very small, and as the form progresses, the experience progresses with that. So this same Atma in human form still did not know itself as knowledge, but knew ignorance infinitely. but know it, new means knowing, ignorance infinitely. Throughout this evolutionary progress, the Atma is in the state of Jiv. So all of these Atma is Jiv. Jiv means Atma with limited experiences. Even with the infinite knowledge of humanity, Atma is still Jiv because it doesn't have a clue of the real knowledge yet as a Jiv. But when the Atma knows knowledge with capital K, which is to say, when it knows knowledge but does not know ignorance, then it can be called the Vida Mukta, or basically the Shiv. And when the Atma returns from the God state back to the creation consciousness, it knows both knowledge and ignorance, means the universe, both knowledge and the universe. One who has knowledge of knowledge necessarily knows ignorance also. That is, he knows I am God and this universe is Maya. So has the knowledge of knowing and also the ignorance, which is the universe. So knows that I am God and the universe is Maya, basically, is illusory. But in the God realization state of the Vida Mukta, Maya is God. Baba says, in the God realization state of Vida Mukta, I'm sorry, Vida Mukta is not a perfect master state. It's the state of Maizub, I believe. Let's see if I can find that here. God speaks, define the Vida Mukta as a God realized being who experienced the I am God state without consciousness of duality. Most Vida Muktas retain their bodies for 3 or 4 days after realization, though some do so for a number of years also. There seems no reason to doubt the applicability of this conception of the Vida Mukta to the present test. So Vida Mukta, I think, yeah, it's a Maizub. It has the knowledge of knowing, but not of the ignorance, not of the, basically, a man who becomes Maizub loses the consciousness of the world. Even he doesn't know his body. That's why, they maybe hold their body for a day or two, or maybe even some years, but they're not conscious of the body. They are Maizub. They're gazed at the divinity of God, at the beauty of God. And they lose consciousness of this ignorance of the world. And so they don't know of Maya. But Baba says in the Vidimukta state, Maya is God. And then Baba says, why? Then Baba explains, this is because in the state there is no Maya at all. Because in the state of Maizub, there is no Maya. So Maya is God. Means everything is God, and Maya is God too. But he doesn't have the consciousness of the Maya. And thus is the self-existence of Maya proven. So that's why Baba says Maya, which is ignorance, which is nothing, is proven, because when the Vida Mukta is at the state of Vida Mukta, Maya is also God. And that's it. Maya basically is nothing. In the original God conscious state, there is no Maya. As we saw in the sound sleep of God, there is no Maya. I mean, the Maya, although is there, but they're not, I mean, that God the Beyond, is not conscious of Maya. And similarly, Maya is absent in the God self-conscious state. Means the state of, again, like a Maizub. But in the Jivatma state, as well as in the Shiva state, Maya appears. So, as we remember, Jiv was all the souls in different stages, in different forms. They were called jiv. So those are called jivatma, and they only experience Maya. So Maya appears. In the Shiv also, which is the state of Sadguru, which is a perfect master who is conscious of the knowledge, real knowledge, and also the world of the illusory world, the Maya also appears, which is basically for them, the world exists, but they know it's an illusion. So the Maya appears, basically. In here, Baba has a table with 5 states of Atma in 5 different rows. Baba has those, and he is comparing those to figure 12. So, one should study this table with figure 12. In the first, which is A in figure 12, and if you remember in figure 12, A was God unconscious, is equal to ignorance, equal to universe, and Baba says, one, unconsciousness, formless God is A, which is corresponding juncture in figure 12. And the columns, the first column is type and degree of knowledge, and then the second one is form and identity of the knower, and the third column is name of a state, and the fourth one referring to the figure 12. So unconscious, formless God is the same corresponding in A in figure 12. And then the most finite knowledge of ignorance, and Baba says the form is atom. Name of that state is Jad Avashta, or inert state. And that is BCD on the right side. In basically figure 12. And then the third one is complete knowledge of ignorance, which is human form. And then the name of that state is Manusya Avashta, or the state of mankind. Manusya Avashta, or the state of mankind. And this is basically on the left of figure 12 of a views B and C and D. Baba has a figure of a human being with B and B, C, D on the left, basically human being. And then complete knowledge of self, number 4, or row 4, is the Majzub or Vida Mukta. And the name of that state is Ishvar Avashta, or the state of Ishvar, or God. And that corresponds to E in figure 12, which is God, conscious, Majzub, knows, knowledge only. And then the 5th one is complete knowledge of self and Maya, which is basically the form and identity of that knower is Salik. Salik I don't know, it's not a Persian word here. Salik means God, basically, God, or the perfect master. And the name of that state is Shiv Avishta, or the state of Shiv, is the perfect master, Salik. And then F is the corresponding in figure 12, which basically Baba says Shiv, knowledge with ignorance, knowledge with ignorance. The Sadguru knows knowledge and ignorance both. So that was table 3 that explained Baba. Baba explained that 5 different things. So now Baba gives a simulation of a person here to illustrate the effect of Maya exerts over the consciousness of an ordinary human individual. Sheri here gave the analogy of a man under the intoxicating effects of Bang. Bang, which is who is that the state believes himself to be topsy-turvy. Basically, bang is like marijuana or something like that, under the influence of drugs. Now he thinks that he's upside down. Though when seen by others, not under this influence and enjoying ordinary sober consciousness, he appears to be all right and in his normal upright condition. Then Baba said, now how does this come about? That those who do not drink, basically disintoxication liquor or whatever, find the man normally oriented and upright, whereas the man affected by bang, though he is as conscious as those others observing him, sees himself as upside down. And then Baba says, why is this? Because the affected one has consumed the bang of sanskaras. And what is the remedy? The Sadguru. Sheri concluded. So basically, we are all upside down because of the bang of sanskaras. That's why we can't see the reality. So, we think we are upright, but we are not upright. Only the Sadguru who is upright knows that we are not upright. And he is the one who can put us in the reverse path to go through. So in conclusion of this, December 12, Baba explains this way. So it is seen and proven that to kill ignorance, one must reverse itself. That is, one must turn one's face and proceed in the reverse direction, as illustrated in the line of progress from D to E in figure 12. And for the accomplishment of this, for the reversing of himself, a man must have a guru. He needs for the guru to show him the best and easiest way. And what way is that? One must create love. Create love. As Hafez says, تو که سرای طریقتت نمی روی بیرون چگونه به کوی طریقت گذر توانی تو که از سرای طبیعتت نمی روی بیرون چگونه به کوی طریقت گذر توانی کرد You who cannot go out from the house of your own nature, how can you traverse the path of truth? In this couplet, nature, tabi'at, means sanskaras. So if you cannot get rid of sanskaras, which is our tabi'at basically, we cannot tread the path of tariqat, which is the path of love, the path of, the true path to God. Jai Baba, we're going to end here, and next time we're going to pick up from December 13th, the subtle world.
When you were talking about the winding of sanskaras, starting from the electron stage and going, progressing through the evolution of forms and everything. And then, on that diagram 12, when it reaches a stage when we the sanskaras start to unwind, taking us through the planes of consciousness. You did read from the book that, please correct me if I'm wrong, that these sanskaras, one by one, they surface. I don't know in what order they would be. I have no idea, but how are they, is there any way you've learned that how they would be experienced, like these sanskaras? Like, do they grow bigger and then they diminish, or how is that, done, progress?
Well, it's like there is a couplet that says, ای کشته که را کشتی تا کشته شوی باز که تو را بکشد. I don't remember it, but basically it says, oh, you have been dead or you've been killed. uh, who did you kill that you are now killed? And who, again, the person who killed you will become again. Basically means that, the reverse has to be experienced. So if one person kills someone in this lifetime, maybe either he gets killed in this lifetime or maybe the next lifetime. And that is a reverse sanskara. It's the opposite of that the man has to experience. The same is for good, like if you are helping somebody that you haven't helped in the past, that becomes a sanskara too. But it's like Baba says, like a golden chain. But because we have, in not even, in our human form, but in animal form, because of the nature of the anger in the beasts, in the animal, we have done so much harm that all the good that we do, it banks up towards our benefits. Baba explains about that also in the future, discourses to the boys, and that's why we have to, do the opposite of sanskaras. But because we don't know what we have done in our previous lifetimes, that is why Baba. I mean, some of these you might know. You might, I don't know. You might say in your being, growing up, you might have borrowed some money from somebody and never gave it back. But you're conscious of it, that, hey, this became a sanskara for me. I have to give this money back. Otherwise, I have to suffer for it. I have to come back and pay this amount again. So with this consciousness in this lifetime also, because you are conscious of this act, you can, with your own effort, do that and pay that debt back, or balance it off, or do the reverse of that sanskara and clean it up. But because we don't know most of our sanskaras in our past lives, especially, that's why Baba says Sadguru, a perfect master, is a necessity. Because he is the one who knows everything. He knows your past. He knows from the beginning of your journey. And he is the one who knows what you have thread or you have winded around yourself. And then he can put you on a path, the shortest path to unwind all these. Now, I can give you an example of the mandalis, maybe make it easy. The mandalis, although Baba took a lot of their karmas upon himself, he said that, I'm taking them. But because they were on his circle, he said, those who are in my circle, they won't, no matter what they do, they won't create more sanskaras. But he also, in the beginning of Manzil Mim or other things, if you remember, Baba was very strict with mandalis. He would tell them what to do, like not to read newspaper, not to maybe even look at anybody when they're traveling, to have your face down. Or even like in Meherabad, if you remember in the beginning, there were a lot of snakes and mosquitoes. Baba would ask them to kill that many mosquitoes or to do this or to do that. And also do Gamala yoga, which was, they had to put rocks on their head with that, Gamala, which is like a pan, iron pan. Put the rocks on there and basically move the rocks here and there and do all kinds of work. They did a lot of hard work. And those were the things that Baba was not only clean them with his own divinity, also put them on those paths that would clean themselves. And in the beginning, you know, they had angers, they were jumping on each other, and Baba would create situations even to have them face to face, and then would have them embrace each other. So melt that sanskara, remove that animosity or anger in them, and clean them up that way. So the God man, the perfect master, he is the one who knows, and he can put us on the reverse path. And for us Baba lovers, I mean, we are on the reverse path, but we can accelerate that by listening to him more carefully, acting the way that he wants us to act, living the way he wants us to live. And that, if we do that, he will accelerate this reverse process. And one feels, one who is on the reverse path feels that, hey, my burden is getting lighter. I don't feel as, I don't feel any anxiety, or I don't feel any, I'm not afraid of the world, or, this and that. And they feel that, they are lighting up. They are lightening up. And when the light, when the sanskaras start diminishing, that Baba explained somewhere like a cloud, they start moving us, moving off or breaking away. Then the shine, which is, the glory of God, the sunshine will appear, will shine. And that's how one also experiences by lightening up the burden of sanskaras. One feels lighter, one feels the light within, and the intuition of one person increases to the extent that you can slowly start knowing things before it happens. And that, those are the signs that one is going through the reverse path, basically.
Thank you for that explanation. Yeah, I can see your explanation made it a lot clear, because often I would think, okay, the Mandali were close to Baba, or Baba was in his physical form when he was, helping them. But for us, as Baba is not in his physical form right now, but he has left us many wonderful messages and books to how to follow him, how to love him, and remember him. And last night, actually, I was listening to some of these audios from Esfandiar. I was going to talk about him today. These audios that were from the 1970s, where Erwin Locke went to Iran. He filmed that Farhad Shafa was recording with his voice recorder.
Right.
Amu was just explaining, Baba kept telling him, remember me, think of me, and one day you shall get the grace of love from me.
Yes.
And that's what he told us, right, in Iran?
Yes. I mean, yeah, he explained very well. And, I call love for Baba and obedience, following his words, being like a laundry machine. I mean, we are like dirty clothes, and what we need is a good detergent to clean us up, or clean us, clean the laundry. And love and obedience, or following his vision, words, are the best detergent to clean that, that dirty clothes. So Baba is like the laundry machine. The more you remember him, the more you call his name, and the more you, follow what he wants from us in the world, in this illusory world, the more benefit you get out of it, and the closer you get to him. And that's what Baba emphasized to the boys. And Amu really sent it across by his, way of living and his way of remembering Baba and the love that he had for Baba. That's sometimes, when I go back and think about those days, even thinking about those would make one intoxicated in that love, that purity of the love that he had for Baba.
Yeah, and I was, when going to Lord Meher, I was searching for, information and, about Esfandiar. I was so happy to find this, what I read in the beginning, that he was the first of the school to come out and show others the way. He was the first, Baba said, to come out and show others the way. So I felt, yes, and I felt so this immense gratitude, this feeling of gratitude that we were in his house. Like I practically felt like I grew up in his house. There were nights I would stay there, spend night with him and Moti Shirin. And I thought how blessed we were to have those close proximity and to watch that, beautiful love for Baba, experience that. And as you say, just thinking about that now, I mean, feel so fortunate. I couldn't help myself. I thought, wow, Baba, thank you.
Yes, definitely.